Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome back. Tonight is our family recovery support group. We are here tonight to bring a informative piece of literature, information that deals with addiction. All right. This is a family meeting, and so this article is brought to us by Lakeside. All right. Millium.com. You can go online and retrieve this article. Now, you may be wondering, well, what article are you talking about? So let me give you tonight's or today's title. Trauma bonding in an addicted household. All right. So we're going to be dealing with some mental information as well as the substance abuse aspect. I have two wonderful people here with me tonight. You cannot see them, but you may hear them along the way. We may have a discussion. And so I'll let them introduce their first name. And I'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Summer.
Summer is here.
And I'm Cliff.
And Cliff is here. So we may get into a discussion, but without further delay, let me give you the introduction of this article. It starts off by letting us know that addiction can change our lives once, addiction can change our loved ones into completely different people. As they become more reliant on substances, their priorities and behaviors shift. Suddenly, their drug of choice becomes the most important thing in their lives. The experience of living with an addicted person can be traumatic for spouses, children, and other family members. Today, we'd like to examine trauma bonding in an addicted household. All right. And so this terminology, trauma bonding is something fairly new to me. I have a fairly idea of what it consists of, but I would like for the article to explain to us a little bit more. All right. And so the first topic of discussion we're going to talk about or read about, and that is trauma of addiction. We previously discussed how painful and upsetting addiction can be for the person struggling with it. Now we would like to consider the effects of addiction on their loved ones. Substance abuse is a key cause of trauma within the family unit. This illness may appear suddenly. From that point, it affects all aspects of life in the home. That's because the addicted person, willingly or not, creates distressing situation time and time again. All right? They become irrational and disregard the consequences of their actions. If anyone tries to stop them from drinking or using drugs, they may react violently. All right? And an addict may also say things they don't mean while under the influence. Yep. Have y'all ever seen people like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. In a family setting? Yeah. Now I hear like barbecues and gatherings. You know, you might have
That was like family reunion.
right, right. So you may have people in the family in the household, you know, uncle or aunt or somebody, brother, sister, a relative, and they may become, as this article says, irrational. You know, you might say, I think you had too much. And they might, you don't tell me, you know.
Well, they usually say you haven't had enough then.
What is
My
it?
family usually says you haven't had enough then.
You didn't have enough then.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had too much, you haven't had enough.
So they throw the ball back on that side of the court. Well, you didn't have enough then. All right. You need to get where I'm at. But, well, and so we try to understand a little more about this trauma thing, right? And so it says, Dr. Dayton, clinical psychologist and daughter of an alcoholic, put it in this way. To see the father you love turn into a raging, abusive monster, or the child you have raised and adored turn into someone you cannot recognize is nothing short of terrifying. Addiction creates unpredictable, painful scenarios that can impact family members both in the moment and for years to come. People in these situations struggle to trust or form strong bonds with others. So, sound like there was a lot of isolation going on. They began to believe that the negative things the addict said in the heat of the moment are true. Mm. You ever heard that term? Oftentimes, when people tell the truth when they're drunk, I never really understood
True
that.
story, that's fact.
That's fact.
That's fact.
Right, like your brain is drunk, but the words coming out aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liquid courage.
Liquid.
There you go.
Oh, brave enough to
Liquid
say
courage,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I get it now. Okay. Some things that people be holding on.
Right, apparently, like Red Bull doesn't do that to people, but the alcohol does.
The alcohol does.
They really said what they mean inside the heart.
It's it within that heart. That's good. That's good.
Where's
Yeah.
the bombs?
I'm learning something tonight. I'm learning something. That's great. All right. They began to believe that the negative things the addict said in the heat of the moment are true. It's also common for victims of abuse to become hypervigilant, always on guard for the next threat. A variety of behaviors can make them react in this way. All right. And so we're going to get into and see what the article informs us of types of trauma associated with addiction. There are a host of them. And so it starts off by stating traumas, plural, in an addicted household may include emotional abuse, making unreasonable demands, creating chaos, arguing just to argue. Wow. Just something for no reason, no apparent reason, right? Boundary violations, having to listen to upsetting, inappropriate stories from the addicted person. Verbal abuse, blaming, gaslighting, making threats, name calling. That word gaslighting.
What is the definition of that? How
I
come?
keep hearing people
Yeah.
on social media.
Pretty much like where you initiate where something like wrong is about to happen, like whether it's verbally, physically, any, like you're basically setting yourself up for that and then not taking the blame for it.
Oh.
Like putting the banana peel there, knowing somebody's gonna slip on it, but then denying that you did it,
All right.
especially when they fall.
Oh,
Like we could be the only ones in this house. Nobody else will fit there.
nobody want to fess
Right.
up.
Wasn't there before that? He said, I still didn't do it.
Gaslighting. I thought it was meant.
Right, and then they're gonna pick you up as they're the reason for your fall.
Yeah, now they want to be the good
Yeah.
Samaritan.
Be the bad guy, but then look like the hero. Gaslighting.
Wow. Gaslighting.
Yeah,
Wow. Ain't that something? So I must be really showing my age, all right? So I'm learning as I go.
I only know it from experience, unfortunately.
All right, the next one we want to talk about is feeling unsupported, right? Even when the person with an addiction wants to be there for you, they cannot. We're talking about types of trauma associated with addiction. And so people feel traumatized when they're feeling unsupported. And I guess that makes sense because I hear people says, like I grew up without a father. And so I hear people who grew up with a two household parent. And when the father, or let's say, I'm gonna just say the father, doesn't tell them, like, I'm coming to your soccer game or your football game, little league game, and don't come. You know, you're playing sports, you look up and you're expecting,
yeah.
and they're not there. That's traumatizing to a young male or female child.
I know you hit it where it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right down to the soccer game.
To the soccer game. Yeah. Wow. So that is something to look at as when we're talking about family. Oftentimes we as adults sometimes we focus on I know I'm looking at it from the male, female, adult perspective, but then we got to include everybody.
Your visual perspective could really be different from actuality.
Yeah, and by excluding, not intentionally, but like we as adult, we're having
Seeing is believing. You have to see it to know it to believe it.
yeah, and a lot of times, I may not feel the hurt and pain of someone because their experience may be totally different from mine, but I cannot ignore it
Right.
because it's real, like you said, right? And so it's always to be mindful of everyone in the household. And so that's why we have these meetings, these recovery support groups, because that's so important that when people come out of addiction, or treatment, residential treatment, or really coming out of incarceration, a lot of times the family aspect could be neglected, because a lot of times we focus on, oh, we want you to stop using drugs, we don't want you to stop drinking alcohol. But what about the relationship? Because a lot of times there'll be situational relapses.
Right. What they want that's best for you, they may not be able to handle the journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of times there'll be a lot of underlying issues, that never been dealt with. Sometimes it gets swept right under the rug, especially when it comes to trauma. Trauma is something I believe, because I suffer from trauma. Well, I've been not suffered, but I experienced trauma. And so I know that not dealing with it adequately, that's why I began to start using drugs and alcohol, covering up the pain, or the guilt.
Remember I was saying that last time I was here, my aunt, she had died right there, and that was the first time I see somebody die, and nobody come and ask me, say, you all right, this, that, and third.
Right.
So I went to start using drugs.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah, that stuck in your mind, huh?
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I'm sorry it had to happen like that, but nobody came up to me like, how most people, somebody died in the family, are you okay? You need anything, said third.
Right.
Nobody approached me, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, damn.
Yeah.
So, I was
And you
young.
witnessed it.
Yeah, I was right there.
Yeah.
I was young, so I was like, you know what? I started smoking weed, and then after that,
Yeah.
it was still in my mind. I was young, like I said. And actually, I just started doing,
And that's why they emphasize so much on seeking professional counseling. Like, and I don't want to get too far off this topic, but when you think about incidents that happen with the school violence and things of that nature, these young kids are really traumatized. And that's why they always immediately, we got to get you some counseling. We got to deal with this now, because I guess as time went on, they began to understand the long side effects of trauma. And when it's not dealt with, people like us, I'm 60 years old,
Good job.
it was available, but I never was introduced to it,
What, being 60?
No, counseling, to deal with the trauma. No.
How's it working out? It looks like it's going great.
Yeah, 60.
61 looks promising.
Yeah, who would have thought? But thanks be to God. All right. And so, let's see. Putting an addicted person first. Canceling important events, making excuses. Oh man, I used to make excuses all the time. I don't know why. Yeah, but I made excuses. Oh, I'll never do it again. I'm sorry. I became this apologetic guy. Oh, we heard that song before. You ain't gonna do it again, right? But then eventually, as I had to go through a whole lot of trial and error, I began to say, you know what? I'm gonna let my action speak louder than my words.
Take accountability.
Take accountability. That's right. Being responsible, taking accountability, all those terms that we learned, well, I had to learn when I was in the therapeutic treatment program. You know, being responsible, taking accountability, integrity, and all those good terminologies. Those are coping tools. All right. And so let's move forward. Physical abuse. This is one major. Pulling hair, hitting, damaging property when angry. Ongoing deception, not being able to believe anything the family member says. All right. Raquana. Mhm. Let me. Good afternoon. Hello. I can't see you.
We can see your forehead.
This. You don't mind showing your face a little? That's good. That's good enough. That's good enough. Oh, I didn't know you had your child there. That's good. How you doing tonight? Hello? Oh, I can hear you now. I had to add you to it. I apologize. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. And so we're talking about, as you can see on your screen, trauma bonding in an addicted household, all right? And so now we're discussing types of trauma associated with addiction. So we went through a whole list of them. We're almost done with this list, but the next one we're sharing is ongoing deception, not being able to believe anything the family member says, codependency, an unhealthy enmeshed relationship, right? Secrecy, being forced to keep the situation a secret from people at work or school, right? Sheltering or holding on to a lot of things. There could be a lot of anger issues people hold on to, things that you don't feel that you're able to discuss because of the backlash or the stereotypes or name calling that may. So people oftentimes shelter their feelings or the experience that they experience. But you can't tell everything to everybody.
Right.
You have to find somebody that you that you can confide in, somebody who is not going to judge you know, because
Everything is perfect, right?
right, and especially like for young people. I know when I was growing up, way back when. So the thing with that is, you know, we were so in a rush to make a joke out of it, laugh at people pain and hurt.
That's why trauma healing, though. It is.
That's what trauma
Like,
is.
it is.
Yeah.
If I can't joke about it, I'll never be able to just take criticism or somebody else's perspective about it.
Okay. See, now your perspective is unique because a lot of people don't have what we call thick skin. You're able to take a good joke.
That's why I started talking to victim sometimes, because it's like they can't, they're so stuck on listening and wanting to help from their perspective that they're not actually like listening to you explain the situation. As soon as they hear something that's, you know, diabolical, they're like, oh no, I would have left. Or, you know, I would have taken myself out of the situation. But at the end of it, like, you just want to get it out, have somebody, you know, see it and then say, not how did that make you feel, but what was the next step to overcome it? Or
Yeah. Open-minded. People just be open-minded. Yeah. I like that perspective. I really do. Because a lot of times, you know, we are so, that's almost like what they says, constructive listening.
oh, there, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And so when someone's is telling this or sharing their story, if you're not a good listener, you may interrupt them. You may not give them eye contact. You may not. You may want to interject before they even finish. You know, you got to answer before they even finish their sentence. And so that is something that it takes practice. You know, I am not a good listener at times, but I try to do my best because, especially when something is serious, I really have to be focused because people are hurting, and so if I'm able to help, I'm able to help. All right, and so let's keep moving on. What's the next one? Rescuing the addicted person, repeatedly bailing someone out of jail. Raise my hand. I'm one of those guys.
I'm 2 weeks out.
Huh?
I said I'm 2 weeks free.
2 weeks free. Welcome home. All right. Cheering them up when they are depressed or loaning them large sums of money. We're talking about types of trauma associated with addiction, domestic abuse, intimate partner violence, and last, taking care of the addicted person. This is major because a lot of times family members are guilty of it because we love each other so much that we want the best and we don't want to see our loved ones going through what they go through, and we try to help them in our own way. So it says taking care of the addicted person, cleaning up after a bad night, assisting them in sobering up. All right. And so the next topic of discussion, we're going to be talking about what is trauma bonding. I'm glad you asked. The article says the events above create a chaotic home environment. They also generate powerful feelings that family members often struggle to process. This is especially true because substance abuse and abuse in general tends to occur in cycles. 1 minute, the addict is fully consumed by their substance abuse and acts out. The next, they're promising to get clean and sober, saying everything their loved ones want to hear. These conflicting behaviors can cause trauma bonding between each family member and the person struggling with addiction. That reminds me, as I was reading it, about, on one hand, when I was high, I'm keeping focus on me, and I had to learn this through my sibling. He taught me, I guess he was on the outside looking in, and so he was saying, so when a person is high, they give you the world. Oh, I love you. I'll do anything. I'll hurt a rock for you. If anything, come your way. All the ooh when I was high or when a person is high. But when they don't have it, you could barely get a conversation.
Yeah.
You could barely get a, hey, how you doing today? Or you may need some. They don't want to be bothered. You know what I mean? So those are things that can interfere with trauma bonding, because a lot of times it's like, oh, just yesterday you and I was getting along. Now today you ain't got 2 words for me.
Right.
And so it's
But he would come at me before I coming out.
Yeah.
One more time.
Yeah.
One more time.
Yeah.
So it's all good when you got this your alcohol and your drugs
Right.
and you party and you grooving, but when you ain't got it, you don't know me, but you want to cover it out.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So let's see at the bottom. It says, when this behavior starts, it may take the family by surprise. Afterwards, the addicted person may promise to change, explain away their action, and apologize. Family members will relent because they remember who their loved ones was before they began drinking or using drugs. Unfortunately, the cycle often continues until the person struggling with the addiction seeks professional help. So it's a cycle, right? And so this behavior is an ongoing thing. The article says until the person get professional help. And what professional help, what that may look
I
like.
was gonna ask you that.
Maybe guys Cliff.
Personal help?
Yeah, what
Like, how
that
do you,
would look
like,
like.
when you really wanted to go through the trauma and everything, did you seek professional help besides like for the addiction?
Nah.
No, the psychological, because that's
Yeah,
I'm calling it psycho, right?
yeah. Mentally, I wanted to, but
Yeah.
to actually go out and just,
Yeah.
when I was out there doing my thing, I know I need help.
Mm-hmm.
I just, even my partner, I go with you, like when I was going through this program, she was like, oh, I go through with you. I'm like, it's a damn lie. You're not going to go through this program with me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I said. The people, places, and things, I got away from her, and I'm glad I got locked up because for those 90 days,
Mm-hmm.
because I was clean and got out, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
and I don't think got my back with my mom, so,
Yeah.
so I'm going to the program now, this other third, it's like, I feel better about myself, like, I don't.
Yeah. But the 12 steps, they,
Self-love.
Yeah.
they seek a power higher than ourselves, when we know that, the addiction was unmanageable, and that we couldn't manage it on our own, I don't know all the steps, but,
No, neither do I.
1 through
First step
12.
is denial.
Right. Except that there's a problem, that I have a problem. That's the first step, to acknowledge that I have a problem and that I need help. And so professional help to me would be seeking counseling. I've been to treatment before. I know that counseling work, I believe I'm a spiritual belief. I have a spiritual belief.
Empath, right?
Huh?
Empath, that's what that is technically.
Second.
Like an empath. So like you feel for people what they feel.
Absolutely. Because there's many pathways to recovery. And so what works for me may not work for somebody else. And what works for somebody else may not work for me. However, as long as we're getting help,
Trial and error.
or you can try and error, you might get a professional person who you may not get along with. You might go into some NA or AA groups, and you might don't fit in, or you may feel eerie about it, and you may have to seek out other groups, NA or recovery support groups. Like if you come here and there was someone who is picking holes, we call it in treatment therapeutic, they call it picking holes in somebody's story. So if you sharing, you want to say something?
No, go keep going.
Okay, so if you want to say something, and I'm sitting up here making jokes of, oh, she lied. Come on, who wants to come back to that environment, right?
Right.
And so,
Instantly doubting or just
Yeah,
not even being believed.
yeah, so we call that picking holes. Don't pick holes in her story, because what she's saying can help somebody else.
Right.
And what you may share can help me,
Like
vice versa.
don't throw them stones in that glass house.
Yeah, absolutely. How you feeling, Raekwon?
Yes.
Come on now. How you feeling? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, good. All right. We're almost, we got a little ways to go. All right, so next we want to share is signs of trauma bonding. Depending on the relationship, trauma bonding may take different forms. These are the main signs that substance abuse has caused this issue in your family. An imbalance of power, feeling like everyone's lives revolved around the addict, a repetitive cycle between acting out and promising to change. I love them, but I don't like them. Distance from others who try to help, fixating on the good time instead of the present, making excuses for their behavior, defending their action when others are concerned, believing you can change them yourself without their effort, keeping their behavior a secret. You may notice that many of these indicators also align with the definition enabling someone with substance use disorder. All right, and so this is the one I really are familiar with. It's called the role of dopamine, right? And that is I don't want to, let me just leave that alone, but dopamine, I heard it before, I read about it, but let's see what the article says. To understand why people stay in a traumatic relationship, Consider the role of dopamine in addiction. This hormone has a similar function in the cycle of abuse. After something bad happens, family members will receive apologies, promises of change, and affection, everything they have hoped for. This triggers the release of dopamine, which strengthens each family member's connection with the addicted person. That powerful dopamine boost is also associated with the repetitive drug-seeking behaviors of those with substance abuse disorders. Until the root issues of addiction and mental health are addressed, trauma bonding is unlikely to resolve on its own. All right, and so the last part, if y'all want to read later on for yourself, that's all well and good. Raekwon, thank you for tuning in, and if you need, want to talk about anything, give me a call. All right.
Okay, I will.
All right then. For now, take care of yourself. I'll see you on the next one. All right.
All right, you too.
All right. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are done for the night. Take care of yourself. Love on someone. If someone needs help, please seek professional help. Or if it's an emergency, call 911. My name is Craig. Until the next time, take care of yourself.